Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for episode 3. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the AR Wrestling Podcast. Sit back, relax, and remember who you are.
Good, let's get it.
Let's get it. This week on Raw and Smackdown, we saw day 2 of the draft, and we saw some, basically just kind of like essentially like a precursor to Backlash, which I thought was cool. I don't know what we're going to see at Backlash just yet, but let's start it off with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins have both signed new contracts. They're both announced on X, and I mean, I'm excited to see that these two are back and they're with the company again.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Instead of them leaving and all. I mean, we all go figure that Rollins resigned, but McIntyre was up in the air after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little disappointed they did announce that Drew re-signed with the company. I would have loved for them to have kept that a secret, like just not announced it and done the entire Summer of Drew storyline with Punk. But yeah, can't do that now. But I'm glad Drew re-signed. I think WWE is the right choice for him.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere else. His fucking character is just too good.
Yeah, and he needs the world title in Scotland.
Agreed. But with that being said, let's head into draft day 2. We saw some fucking legends on Raw, dude.
Oh yeah.
The first round, we saw Imperium and Damage Control get picked for Raw, and Jade Cargill and Kevin Owens for SmackDown. Stephanie McMahon announced round 1. Round 2 was by Aisha Speed and Logan Paul. They had CM Punk, Braun Strowman for Raw, and the Pride, which would include Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and B-Fab. And
hello,
it's Tiffy time. And with that,
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
my mic was cut. My headphones were cutting out. Sorry.
I got you. Then round 3 was by the APA, JBL and Ron Simmons. They announced the LWO with Carlito and Drew McIntyre for round 3 on Raw. Round 4 was Legado del Fantasma and Shinsuke Nakamura. Round 4, we saw Alundra Blaze and Teddy Long announce these picks. And with those picks being the Judgment Day with Finn, JD, and Dominic, because Damon is the protected champion on Raw with Mommy out with injury right now, shoulder injury. Then NXT star Ilya Dragunov.
That's huge.
I have 2 things for this. We either see Ilya and Gunther feud, or Ryan, how you've been talking about Ilya joining Gunther, which I would like to see a new and improved Imperium.
Bro, I think that was the case. Insane if he joined Imperium with Gunther. Like, obviously down the road they would split those two up because that is just a matchup made in heaven. Those two fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then with SmackDown picks, we have Naomi and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Round 5, we saw the Dudley Boys.
What's up?
They announced the New Day, Lyra Valkyria, and with Lyra being called up now, former NXT Women's Champion, she did beat Becky Lynch for that women's title. So do we see Lyra getting a shot at Becky at some point in the future if Becky holds it again or in her current reign?
I would love for that to eventually be ran back again. I thought those two had a really good feud down in NXT. I mean, I don't watch NXT all that much, so I didn't get to see all of it, but like they had really great match and they had a lot of chemistry because they had that like mentor and student kind of relationship from what I understand.
Yeah, and I watched their rivalry a little bit at that time, and it was a good rivalry. Becky put over Lyra at the end of the match where Lyra won, so that was good for her. But round 6 was announced. No, I lied. Hold on. Round 5, we had for SmackDown we had Pretty Deadly and Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I like this whole shakeup with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae that they're on SmackDown now because it gives them something new and gives them something to step away from the Alpha Academy and Maxine Dupree and all that good jazz. But with that, I mean, I don't really see much right now with them. I mean,
Nah.
I can see. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
If we see Bianca and Jade Cargill beat the Kabuki Warriors at Backlash, I do see Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell being one of the first competitors. Same with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, or we have Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. I think that they could be a really good tag feud for Bianca and Jade if or when they do win the titles tomorrow.
Right. And then with that being said, let's move into round 6. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, the respective GMs of both brands, announced both picks for their respective brands. Raw went with the Final Testament and big Bronson Reed, which I thought was a huge pick. And then Nick Aldis picked for SmackDown DIY and Blair Davenport. But now with DIY, here's the thing. Michael Cole did say on commentary, maybe they could win on SmackDown. But I also was thinking that kind of came from WrestleMania 40, where we saw the six-pack ladder match where the Awesome Truth was going for the Raw ones, and then DIY was going for the SmackDown ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that. I could see them taking the titles off A-Town Down Under, maybe the Street Profits on SmackDown, maybe Angel and Umberto from Legado del Fantasma, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
I'd love to see DIY get some tag belts around their waist, and I'd love to see them, like, as a whole, as a team, turn heel, like not just Ciampa and Gargano, or not just Ciampa, but both Ciampa and Gargano.
I got you. Okay. And with that was all of the draft picks announced on air. Off air, we had D-Jack, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance, Natalia, the Creed Brothers, and Ivy Nile, and British Strong Style, or the New Catch Republic, for there we go. For the picks off. But the one that really threw me off was Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones has been drafted twice in a row now, and we still have yet to see him.
Yeah, that's confusing. I'm like, what the hell is up with him?
But with that, SmackDown picked off air Apollo Crews, Giovanni Vinci, who was formerly with Imperium, but now is not, and Tegan Knox. But I like this whole thing with Tegan Knox because it does finally pull her away from Natalia. I mean, Natalia's been doing work in NXT with Lola Vice.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who else it was, but Shayna Baszler's also been down there. So, I mean, I don't know if we necessarily see anything with Natalia in the future. But with Tegan, I think this is good for her to expand and see where she can go with her future. Because, I mean, she is very injury-prone as well. But
I think if she's handled right, then she could be like a huge star. Sorry.
No, yeah.
And like you said, I like the fact that they moved her away from Natalia now. So she doesn't really have that crutch, and now she can start to like shine all on her own.
Yeah. And with that, let's head into segments and over the match card. We opened up Raw with a Becky Lynch promo who damn near immediately was interrupted by Liv Morgan saying that she's owed a title shot after what Liv did to Rhea. And Nia Jax comes out, flaunts her shit, and she wants one more match with one of them before she goes to SmackDown and these rosters lock in. And before she can finish, Liv accepted immediately. So I thought it was pretty interesting because that was kind of the precursor to their match later on in the night, which I'll get to. But after that, I mean, before I move on, do you have anything from that, Ryan, that you could add on?
No, not too much to add on to that. I think it's just a good hype up for. They're just hyping up a match later on for Nia and Liv, giving Nia one more match on Raw. But I think at some point, Liv and Becky is the feud that we're going to be building to here.
Yeah. With that being said, we moved into the round 1 draft picks. Raw picked Imperium and Damage Control, and SmackDown obviously picked Jake Cargill and Kevin Owens. After that, we saw Xavier Woods, who had Kofi Kingston by his side, versus Gunther, who had Ludwig Kaiser by his side. I thought this match was essentially a squash match, to be honest. Looking back on it, but
yeah, it kind of was.
with that, I mean, Gunther basically showed Xavier Woods that him winning King of the Ring was a fluke. And that Gunther is the real ring general, the real king of the ring.
Oh yeah.
But
I'd love to see Gunther win that tournament later on.
I would too. I mean,
that's May 24th, I think, is what it is, or 25th. I can't remember.
May 25th is king of the ring and queen of the ring.
Hell yeah,
that whole Saudi show. But I don't really have much else for this match besides it was kind of just like a.
No, it was a real good. Gunther. It was Gunther's first match after losing the IC title, so there was like no shot he was going to win or lose. So he needs to be not necessarily built back up because he's Gunther, but put some more wins under that man's belt now.
Right. And then we moved into round 2 of the draft picks where we saw CM Punk and Braun Strowman get picked for Raw, which is a huge surprise to everyone. But I mean, Braun was in Kansas City all day, was spotted, so that was something interesting to see.
Yeah.
And then SmackDown again had the Pride, and it's Tiffy time.
Tiffany Stratton,
who has a match at Backlash on Saturday, which is actually when we're recording this. So yeah, he actually has a match tonight. But after that, I didn't really have much else. But then it was kind of nice because then we moved into a Logan Paul coming out on Raw and just talking mad shit about Jey Uso right before his match. And Jey comes out and basically wants to kick Logan's ass. The Judgment Day kind of walks out and jumps Jey, and we had none other than Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes in the building. So Logan went and grabbed Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl rings, which I thought was pretty interesting. And Logan straight up just clocks the shit out of JD McDonough. It was just it was something funny to watch, something amazing.
It was awesome.
But, I mean, with that, we had, like I said, Braun Strowman was just picked. Braun comes out and saves Jey. And then he gets in the face of Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes' lineman that he had behind him stand up. And Jay's like, dude, don't even worry about them. They're not worth it. Which I thought was really interesting. But, I mean, I think my prediction with Braun and being on the Wyatt 6, hopefully they come at Backlash because I think they're doing something similar again with Bray and how they did it at Extreme Rules. Mm-hmm. But I don't really have much else for that. Do you have anything to add on to
that? Not too much. I want to ask you, I know that they just did the whole draft pick and all, and literally it just happened. But you think in the future, because WWE has been loose with the draft before, could we do a Logan Paul versus Jey Uso feud for the U.S. title? Maybe that's where Jey wins his single title.
Well, the rosters haven't locked just yet, so we could see the trade of Jey Uso actually going to SmackDown for maybe I don't know who's all got picked by SmackDown. Maybe you're Kevin Owens,
so I'm not sure.
Or someone, just some big name. It has if they're doing Jey Uso, maybe bring over AJ Styles, bring back Andrade, maybe Orton, even pull Orton off of SmackDown, put him back on Raw, maybe.
Right, maybe.
So we'll see where that goes with that. I don't really know how they would do that, even if they didn't do that, because honestly, if that happened, I mean, Logan Paul's the protected champion on SmackDown, so it's kind of hard to do that. But I mean, again, like you said, they've been loose with this, so I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold
maybe
on.
something in a few months. Maybe not instantly now. I'm talking about maybe at a SummerSlam if Logan holds the title for that long, which I imagine he would.
Yeah.
And then in a few months they do Jey Uso jumped to SmackDown now. Woo, we did a trade a couple months after the draft, and now he's going after the U.S. title against Logan Paul.
Okay. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they'll keep it to a minimum, try to keep it really strict to follow the whole draft thing. But
I wish it would.
That'd be interesting because
if they're gonna do the draft, then enforce the draft. Don't enforce the draft 1 week and then be super loose with it the next.
No, 100% agreed on that. Yeah. But with that being said, we move into a backstage segment with R-Truth and Chad Gable doing a 2-for-1. I think this was what this mainly was that there's Chad Gable wanted Akira Tozawa and Otis to beat the Awesome Truth for the titles that night, but they didn't. And then, as the Miz walks into the shot, R-Truth tells the Miz that he thinks that they're getting drafted to the NFL and that they can be on the Chiefs just with Patrick Mahomes. And Miz and Gable go, no, we're in the WWE draft, not the NFL draft. And he goes, oh, well, I gotta go find Pat. He basically was like, I think he said, I'm gonna go find Patrick Mahomes or something goofy like that. Just truth being truth. But Miz kind of stayed back with Gable and looked at him. He's like, really, dude? Are you really that fucking serious? Like, there's no reason for that. But, I mean, I think we see something with this Gable heel turn. Like, I think you mentioned on the last episode of basically having heel Gable and then having the Creed brothers join and making this heel stable, like the actual Alpha Academy that Chad Gable wanted, instead of this, lousy version of it that they have.
Bro, Perk Gable, Perk Academy.
That would be insane. I've seen something that Kurt Angle does want to manage Chad Gable.
Yeah!
I think that could be a thing.
Bro, Perk Angle. Make the group.
Make it.
That would be awesome. It would be like a modern day Team Angle at that point.
Yeah. With that being said, we moved into another backstage segment with none other than Booker T and Drew McIntyre. And Booker is basically doing King Booker. I think. And Booker basically is just trying to hold McIntyre accountable, just like Rollins, just like Punk, just like everybody else, just like Sheamus, trying to hold him accountable. But McIntyre's playing this hypocrite character, which plays into it just so much more better because he straight up looked at the legend and told him fuck off.
Yeah,
it was great. I think that added to his character so much more. I don't really have much else for that. It was just a quick little segment that we seen backstage with McIntyre going on his his little rant because he's just being a hypocrite and he's still hung up on losing at WrestleMania and he just can't move on. I mean,
he's like an angry ex-girlfriend,
right?
The Punk said later.
The Punker did say that later in the night, but I mean, I don't really know.
I haven't got too much to add on that.
I don't really either. I think it just all stems from WrestleMania and McIntyre looking at Punk really seductively, which is weird. You remember that?
Yeah. What the fuck was up with that?
That was weird. But after that, we saw an Intercontinental Championship match between Bronson Reed and Sami Zayn. And it was a good match. I will say it was a decent match. But we, again, had interference from none other than Chad Gable. Which is great. We love it. But not when it has nothing to do with him. I think this was I think this just keeps adding on to Gable's heel character. Because he's like, again, I think how you were talking about him and the Creed brothers, we see their group join again, and Sammy is now fighting against everyone because now he's got Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, and the Creed brothers, and whoever else wants a title shot.
Right.
But I mean, I think in the future, if we don't see Jay winning at Backlash, I see a Jay versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title in the near future. Kind of just go back on their history together. And here's the thing. They both go on as faces for this. But here's the thing. Jimmy comes out. Jimmy returns. He comes out. And just when you think he's going to cost Jay one more time, he super kicks Sammy as the ref is distracted. And just Jey Uso is just in awe. So he finishes the match. And that following like Raw or whatever, Sammy's all pissed off. Now we see heel Sammy going against Jey Uso and just having an absolute tear against Jey after all he's done for his family and everything like that.
Dude, that'd be nuts.
I mean, do you have anything to add?
I would love to see a Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso feud at some point. In terms of in terms of this match, Bronson versus Sammy, I think it's a little awkward. They're building up a triple threat here between Bronson, Gable, and Sammy that I presumed would have been put on Backlash, but nothing's been said yet about it. And I don't think it's going to get put on the show, but I assume that's what we're eventually going to get is a triple threat between Sammy, Gable, and Bronson for the IC title.
Right. I would love to see that. But after that, we move into round 3, where LWO, again, was drafted with Carlito. We saw Legado del Fantasma, Drew McIntyre, and Shinsuke Nakamura. As soon as the picks were over, McIntyre comes out. Again, he complains like normal, but we see Punk up in his suite. And CM Punk basically tells McIntyre, I'm not at home. I'm up here, you little bitch. And McIntyre just absolutely gets enraged, and he storms off, and Ron Simmons, says his signature line, damn. Which I thought was awesome, just to add on to that. But after that, we went to commercial, and then we came back, and we saw Drew going upstairs in the suite, and sure as shit, Punk's music hit. Right before Punk's music hits, there was a picture of Punk, and it's signed, which I thought was really funny.
The autograph picture.
Punk basically was talking shit on McIntyre's world title win, and he goes, McAfee, time me. And I think he was like 3 minutes less than what McIntyre's win was. Or no, title win was. And he basically called Drew an ex-girlfriend that he can't get rid of, and he's going to make his life a living hell. Which I really liked. But I don't know if you noticed, there was a pipe bomb reference where he said, I'm the best in the world in this ring, on this mic, on commentary. And then he said, no offense, Michael and Pat. Which I thought was really funny. Just to add on to that.
I love that line whenever he drops it.
But I loved how Punk just cut that pipe bomb on McIntyre. It was just, it was great. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
I think this literally has potential to be like WWE feud of the year, if not like WWE feud of the decade, bro.
Yeah,
these two like make the backstage animosity that they probably have for each other come across so real on the screen.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I seen something on X, or like, I don't know where I seen it, but people were talking like Drew should have had a mic with him up there, so then he could have talked the shit with Punk. But I mean, I would have liked it because he could have responded and be like, and it could have just been a big mic battle. I mean, do you think it was better without the mic, or?
I personally liked it without the mic better, just because like we've had like weeks and days and episodes of Raw where Drew has just laid into Punk, and because of his injury, Punk hasn't been on the show to respond. So with Punk getting that like outsmarting Drew with the game of cat and mouse and getting him like up into the suite with the signed picture, and then like just ranting on him on the microphone while Drew is sitting up there with no mic, seething, just looking at him with like his face during the entire promo Punk cut was perfect. He came across like he wanted to rip Punk's freaking head off.
He was absolute.
He was livid, bro.
Yes.
And I think that is like added more to it than if they were going to have a big promo battle, because that's going to eventually come. And I imagine that's going to happen when they're both medically cleared, and it's going to be absolutely insane when that feud eventually kicks off.
It's going to be an absolute banger. I mean, it's already obviously kicked off, but like just the physical aspect, the fighting aspect is just going to be a whole nother layer on top.
When they actually get physical, like they could literally do like a 3-match series between these guys.
I would love that.
Be insane. And like a Hell in a Cell stipulation or something.
Yeah. And after that, we moved into round 4 of the draft picks. Raw had Judgment Day and Ilya, and SmackDown had Naomi and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And then we moved into a backstage segment with Chad Gable basically calling Maxine pathetic, slaps Otis, and threatens Otis and Tozawa if they don't win these titles, basically. And as soon as Gable gets done, Ivy and I was seen coming in the screen looking at Gable like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? And grabbing Maxine and saying, hey, come on, let's go get ready for your match. Which I think we're going to get ready to see this whole, like you're saying, Pert Gable stable. And it's going to be fucking just – it's going to be a phenomenal. It's going to be the team that runs Raw for a while.
I think they really could if like take Judgment Day's spot, since they seem to be breaking up, honestly.
Yeah, I think what should happen, though, again, is that Gable should just kick out Maxine, Otis, and Tozawa and bring in the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. but Ivan Nile joins. It still wants to help out Maxine, but Gable gets pissed off about it and basically kicks Ivy out. And the Creed Brothers like, dude, what the fuck? And Gable's like, dude, shut the fuck up. We gotta go win. We're gonna go win. That's what we're gonna do. It's what we're here to do. We're not here to do anything else. You're here to listen to me and only me. And so I think this power chip's going to his head right now. And if he wins this, if he does take his title off of Sammy at some point, it's gonna go. Dude, this power chip's gonna go crazy.
Dude, it's gonna go nuts. I would love to see this all kick off like that.
Yeah.
Potentially, like Maxine and Ivy could form a tag team, even if Gable does end up kicking all of them out, because it could be like maybe Ivy doesn't want to like team with Gable and the Creeds if they do all turn heel, and she could just team up with Maxine.
Okay, I like that. And then we go to commercial again. Love commercials. I just want to watch wrestling, but no, we gotta go to commercial.
Gotta watch insurance ads.
We go to commercial.
Taco Bell.
And we seen Sheamus. No. Hold on. Let me backtrack. We saw Braun Breaker backstage, and Sheamus comes up to Braun, telling him that he's a big fan, and that he basically is complimenting his ring work. And Sheamus is basically giving Braun Breaker the rub, like, "Hey, we're here to see you. We're here to see you wrestle. We want to see you wrestle. We want to see you fight, and I would love to see you in the ring." Now with Sheamus being back and everything, I mean, I like that Sheamus came up and gave him the rub, because Sheamus is now you could kind of consider Sheamus as a legend in the business.
Oh, for sure.
But
for sure.
I mean, what do you think off of this?
Man, this just gave me goosebumps, because all I can think about is potentially doing Sheamus versus Braun Breaker in a match.
I like that.
I think that would be absolutely nuts if you want to like have Sheamus give Bronson Reed the rub there.
Oh, for sure.
Have like for the next few months. This doesn't even have to be like in any of the next like upcoming PLEs. You could save this literally for like SummerSlam for Bronson's first big singles rivalry, and it could be Sheamus at that event. And
Bronson?
up until Braun Breaker.
We have 3 Brauns now on Raw, by the way.
I know, dude. It's confusing as shit.
3 Raw.
I keep getting them all confused. But yeah, Braun Breaker and Sheamus, I want them to have a match eventually at like SummerSlam. And up until that point, Braun Breaker can just wreck fools.
Yeah. Well, I like that. And then let's move into, I think it was like top of the hour, like mid-hour, maybe. I don't know. But we've seen Candice LeRae, who had Indy Hartwell by her side, and Maxine Dupree with Ivy Nile again. And it's basically just like Candice LeRae's just picking on Maxine Dupree, being her little pixie character. And I think she's kind of rubbed off on Indy Hartwell, because, I mean, we've seen Indy kind of go heel these past few weeks, even though she's kind of is hesitant with it. I mean, we saw her but we saw her attack Ivy Nile, which threw off Maxine, and Candice LeRae was able to get the pin off of her and win the match, which I thought was interesting. So, I mean, I think we might be seeing a tag match on Raw maybe next week, or we see Indy Hartwell Ivy Nile match. I don't necessarily know. No, we can't do Raw because
I'm really sure about this one.
No, we can't because the
Raw
Ross
are on different brands. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I even mentioned it.
Yeah,
that's great.
So I think this was just a way just to hype up Candice LeRae and Indy by giving Candice a win over Maxine and establishing Indy as like a heel now before they do officially make that switch to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because personally I'm a big fan of Candice LeRae. Indy Hartwell's cool too. But so just like I really enjoy watching Candice LeRae, especially when now that she's turned heel and started this new character. I want to see where she goes with this.
I agree. Well, and then I think again we went to, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know. We had a recap of the LWO segment with Carlito, how Santos came out and basically said, "Hey, by the way, Ray, the wrong person attacked Dragon Lee. You think it was me? Actually, it was Carlito." And they showed the backstage footage, and it led into an interview with the LWO and everything with Ray and Carlito. But Dom comes up and tries to tell the LWO that the Judgment Day runs Raw. But Ray was like, "Dude, you're not even drafted yet, so you can't even tell us that." Which, sure as shit, I'm pretty sure he just got literally just drafted or something like that. I don't know how that. I don't know
like
how I written it.
like the next round afterwards, or like right after.
It was a round before, but I think this all was written in. I think we accidentally put round 4 before. Anyways, basically, Ray calls Dominic Dirty Sanchez, which was really funny. I found that hilarious. It was kind of like a humor
Dirty
joke for them.
Sanchez.
But yeah, it's kind of like a humor joke for like the Hispanic background. I mean, obviously they're all Hispanic. They're on the screen, but I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Dominic going back at his dad and be like, haha, look who's here. And basically telling Frey that he's a POS still.
Yeah.
As much as I hated Dominic going after Ray, I'm now enjoying it even more. Because now it's the whole new thing it's a whole new thing now that they're on Raw, all of them. Instead of just one, now they're all stuck on Raw, so now you can actually really focus the storyline better between Dominic and Ray, or do like a LWO versus Judgment Day kind of thing and go from there. But make it big. Like don't like either you still put over the Judgment Day or you finally put over LWO. And I mean, but like, or not really putting over the Judgment Day, but like kind of pushing the Judgment Day for even more than what they are right now. But I think
I'm with you there.
There was when we get into our main event, I will add more into the Judgment Day. But as of right now, that's all I really have. I mean, do you got anything from there?
Same. No, I don't got too much after this.
But after that, we saw Liv Morgan and Nia Jax's match, which I think was a #1 contender. Ironically enough, we saw Tiffany Stratton front row behind commentary, but I think this more or less has to do with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax's relationship because they're kind of like buddies on the road whenever they can be. And that Nia Jax has helped her out a lot, basically, is what she said. But Pat McAfee goes, is she here to recruit or start something? Because of this whole thing she's been doing with Bayley and Naomi on SmackDown. But Naomi shows up and starts beating the shit out of Tiffany Stratton, which I found awesome. But it helped give Liv Morgan the win. But, with Tiffany being there, what you got to say. It's Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time.
And basically, I think Tiffany's going to get the rub from someone. I mean, if we see like a women's intercontinental championship that Undertaker's pushed for, we can see it get put on her as her first singles title. Maybe she does get the world title. I mean, I don't know. We don't know until we watch Backlash. But
yeah, bro, she's for sure a future world champion at some point. Like, undoubtedly, mega star potential right there. Because it's always Tiffy time.
It's always Tiffy time.
My pick, honestly, for Money in the Bank this year. For women's, that is.
I got you. But Liv Morgan wins the match, like I said. And she's seen with Becky. And Becky basically gives her, like, hey, you earned your shit. You earned your shot. Now you got it. I mean, I don't know if we see this at Backlash because it's nothing announced yet. Or we see this somewhere else. I mean, or did we see this on a Raw, maybe? I don't know. Did we see this like Clash of their King going in the ring? I mean, I don't know. But
I think it's going to be something that could potentially do on Raw. Or I think it would make more sense to do it at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
To give Liv Morgan like a much bigger stage for when she gets that win over Becky.
I think it'll be good too because this would really help catapult the Liv Morgan revenge tour too. But with that being said, we're moving to round 5. Raw and SmackDown make their picks. New Day and Lyra Valkyria go to Raw. SmackDown has Pretty Deadly and Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Then we cut to a backstage segment where Booker T congratulates Ilya because Booker T is on commentary down there, and if not, I think he's doing backstage work. And he basically is congratulating Ilya that he got drafted and that he's proud of him for everything he does. But we see Adam Pearce walk by, and Jackie Redmond just completely cuts Booker off and interviews Adam Pearce. And she asks him, like, how do you feel about this whole thing with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven? And he basically shat on Chelsea. had nothing else to say, but just absolutely shit on her. Which I thought was really interesting. I mean,
yeah, he's happy to get them out of his hair, or he doesn't have hair, but you know.
I do know that she's supposed to, or there's rumors that she might be down with her manager in NXT. I don't necessarily remember his name, but she might be packaged with him maybe. Or I would, even though he has signed with TNA, I would love to see Matt Cardona make his appearance in WWE.
Yeah.
I really would.
Matt Cardona. That'd be epic, bro.
I definitely agree. But as Matt Cardona was a former tag team champion, we moved into the World Tag Team Championship match with Awesome Truth versus the Alpha Academy. I don't really have much for this match. It all kind of stemmed from their backstage segment that I had that was up there earlier on the show. But we had the winner being Awesome Truth. Obviously, I think we all knew that Alpha Academy was not winning this match. I mean, especially with Awesome Truth just winning the titles at WrestleMania and getting the new titles like a week or two prior to this match.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There was not too much for me to add on to this personally, but good win for Awesome Truth here, and I think it's just going to add on to Chad Gable getting more pissed off at Tozawa and Otis for losing.
Right.
Give him more reason to kick him out of Alpha Academy and rebuild it.
I definitely agree with that. But we move in to another backstage segment because we just love backstage segments. Judgment Day, I was seeing in their dressing room, and Dominic's, kind of pissed that they fell around for, and Damien looks at Dominic, he's like, dude, do you really think you deserved higher than round 4? Basically kind of hinting at how him, JD, and Finn have basically just have been doing really shitty these past few weeks after WrestleMania. And we see JD McDonough just absolutely beat the hell after that punch from
looks like he had an alien growing on his face.
Yeah, from Logan Paul. I mean, I didn't really have much else for that. I thought it was pretty interesting to see. I wonder if we see something at Backlash where JD maybe messes up Damian Priest as he's been doing these past couple weeks. But before we move into our main event with Judgment Day, we have round 6. Raw picked the Final Testament and Bronson Reed again, and SmackDown and picked DIY and Blair Davenport, which is congratulations to all the NXT stars who have came up. I think every single one of them will have some sort of impact in their respective divisions. But with that being said, we move into the main event of the night. A 6-man tag match between Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet, our Speed Champion, versus the Judgment Day being Damian Priest, JD McDonough, and Finn Balor. Dominic is obviously injured, so he can't do much. But speaking of Dominic, I forgot to mention this. What the hell has he been doing with Liv Morgan backstage?
Ooh,
Mommy's going to be upset.
Them in a closet together, coming out of a dressing room together. Mommy's going to be mad.
Mommy's going to be a little upset.
Mommy ain't going to be happy when she comes back.
No, she will not. But with that being said,
time for a ladder match.
We suffer. Redo SummerSlam 2005.
Custody of Dominic Mysterio. Liv versus Rhea.
That would be
do it.
But with that match in the main event, we saw JD McDonough mess up the South of Heaven, which caused Damian to knock off Finn Balor from the apron, and Jey Uso and Damian ended up having a stare off at the end of the match. Maybe this is a precursor to see if Jay beats Damian at Backlash or not.
It potentially could. It's also, I think, planting a lot of seeds for dissension in the Judgment Day for potentially like a Finn Balor Damian Priest feud down in the future.
It's funny enough you say that because there was a picture with Finn actually looking up at Damian holding the title up while him and Jey Uso were having their stare off.
Damn.
But I mean,
Give
that's
it to Finn.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He deserves another. That is
It's
the
been-
real. You know what story needs to be finished?
8
Finn's.
years? 8 years?
Yes. Yeah.
This is absolutely insane.
Bro, that's the story that needs to be finished.
Agreed. Basically, what I would do though, if I would book that, if I have Damian versus Finn, Finn brings out Demon Balor.
Bring out the demon.
Bring out the demon.
Not purple
King,
demon. Bring out the red demon.
Bring out the red one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just absolutely go
Yeah,
all out with
red
it.
fire. Bring back his old original theme. Oh yeah,
I would love it.
That's the stuff.
But we had Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet winning that match. Congrats to them, obviously, but I don't really have much else for this. It was just mainly the whole thing with the Judgment Day, how they're slowly still breaking up, and it because Rhea's not there to hold the glue.
Oh yeah.
because everybody's trying to impress mommy, and so they're trying to just be a team together. But with that, I happened to just be laying in bed the next night, pulled up YouTube, and turns out there was a teaser on NXT for Uncle Howdy. My first thought was, have they been doing this entire time? So then I was thinking, all right, whatever, I'm gonna watch this video. Turns out it was the first Uncle Howdy teaser on NXT, but I'll get to that when we get to our Uncle Howdy segment, and we'll go from there. But we move into
Oh yeah.
SmackDown. We opened
SmackDown
up
in France.
in France, in Lyon, France.
In Lyon, France.
But with that, we see Bailey, Naomi, Bianca, and Jade take on Damage Control and Tiffany Stratton, which I thought was interesting for a team, especially the Damage Control and Tiffany time one, more or less. The Bailey, I think I could see because she's cool with Naomi, Naomi's cool with Bianca, and Jade's cool with the other two. But
Right.
or all three of them. But with that, we saw Bailey, Naomi, and Jade and Bianca all together backstage, and basically Bianca like made it known to Bailey she still does not like her at all. But
Yeah, I kind of agree with Bianca on that one. Bailey didn't bring back the Bailey buddy, so I still hold a grudge.
but I do have a question for you. They were wearing the
What?
same color outfit. They were wearing, I think it was like a purple outfit. Do you think that they both win at Backlash? Kind
Oh,
of hints at their
so.
team winning. Like, is there attire that they wore?
I think I think that would be a good hint at them winning tomorrow at a Backlash and winning those tag titles.
I
And they
got
could
you.
go on a pretty good run because I think it'll do Jade Cargill a world of good working with Bianca Belair and being a tag
Oh,
champ with her.
I got you. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But to follow that, we had where we at? We had Carmelo Hayes declare for the King of the Ring tournament with Nick Aldis backstage. But we saw Bobby Lashley come in and praise him, and he offered Melo some help because the teacher wants to help the student. But Melo
Right.
basically told him, he's like, dude, I got it. Don't worry about me. And I mean, right before Melo walked off, Bobby stops him. He goes, it's not about the shots you shoot, it's about making them count. Which I thought was pretty interesting because he kind of shit on him for losing against Cody the week prior.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if we
I
necessarily
think
see Melo
I
join
think this
him.
could. We saw him declare himself for the King of the Ring tournament. I think this could potentially build to like a maybe Bobby and Carmelo meet in the King of the Ring tournament in a match.
Okay.
And like you said, they dropped the bar of it's not about the shots you shoot, it's about making them count. So I think that's more of like a prelude, maybe not as like a spoiler or them kind of like trying to tell us that Melo might not win the tournament, but it's kind of their way of saying that watch his matches because he's about to like go crazy.
I mean, he did have the nickname of him in NXT because Melo don't miss. Because
He
Melo's
is
him.
him.
But after that, we
Melo
had
don't miss.
British Strong Style versus AOP. There was absolutely no pop for this match. I had gotten on X prior and just saw absolutely no pop for AOP. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the SmackDown taping just to see if there's any difference. No, if there was any noise for AOP on the stream for like us over here in the US, it was because it was piped in crowd noise.
Yeah, no, not for AOP. They liked British Strong Style though.
Oh yeah, British Strong Style absolutely showed out. I think they deserve a shot at the tag team titles at some point.
They should be champions right now. God damn it.
Them or the Street
I
Profits,
love those
honestly,
two.
those are probably my two teams who I think would hold or who I would have hold the titles.
Yeah, agreed.
But after that, we went backstage with Nick Aldis and Paul Heyman, and Heyman requested that Orton and Owens back out of the Backlash match, and Aldis goes request denied. Do we think this is a hint at Jacob Fatu joining them?
Bro, I think so. I think that big old wrecking ball is about to show up in Leon and wreck these fools.
Right.
Like he is like an absolute force, and I think like, man, I'm excited to see him show up. But
Right.
yeah, I think this is like a big hint at him showing up.
I think so as well. With that though, I think this is another thing that kind of pushes it as well. Um, Heyman goes, whatever happens to Orton and Owens is now on Aldis's conscience, not on Heyman's conscience. So I think there's something there with that. I do think we see something next week on SmackDown with Paul Heyman and Nick Aldis. But, I mean, Heyman has said, or Aldis did bring up that all communication must go through Heyman. And Heyman dropped the line of, I haven't spoken to Roman since WrestleMania, and he instantly regretted it. And Aldis goes, what did you just say? He looks at him, he goes, so you got to understand, I cannot subject Roman to the chaos in the bloodline right now. Basically, Paul is protecting Roman, I think.
Oh, yeah, dude. I think that lines up really good with Paul's character. With, like, throughout this whole tribal chief thing, that is kind of the role that he's played. Is not only has he been like Roman's guiding hand, his like wise man, his manager, and all that, but he's also been like his protector in a weird sort of way. Because like in the build up for WrestleMania 38, I believe, when Roman was about to fight Brock Lesnar, Heyman goes, "I'm not protecting Brock Lesnar from you. I'm protecting you from Brock Lesnar." And I think that is kind of a cool like story beat that they've kept consistent throughout Paul and Roman's involvement in the story, in the bloodline story of Paul wanting to protect Roman from this kind of stuff.
Right.
But like at the same time respecting the fact that Roman is the fucking man.
He is our tribal chief.
Acknowledge him.
Acknowledge Roman. But we do, I mean, again, we have Solo Sikoa now as our tribal chief as well, which I think is really weird. But I think this kind of can lead into a thing of like a Survivor Series match or like just some like big PLE match where we see like a OG bloodline versus the new bloodline. Like you have Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Solo, Tama Tonga, and maybe Jacob if he debuts at Backlash. I don't know. I haven't really figured that part out yet.
Oh yeah, I think you're exactly on it right there with a whole bloodline civil war eventually coming into the works when Roman makes his comeback and the Usos eventually reunite.
Yeah. But that kind of that moved us right into our next segment with the RKO show. First ever segment in Lyon, France. The entire crowd, Orton comes out, very first person, the entire crowd sang his song, and just he was absolutely in awe of it. And when I tell you I was in awe as well, it was just absolutely insane. I was so ecstatic about it. I was so happy. The crowd in France was phenomenal. I'm excited to see what happens with them at Backlash. But then we see Kevin Owens come out, and Kevin was like, hey, man, I got a phone call. Ignored it. Got another one. Kind of just went like, Paul Heyman asked to be a guest because he had something important to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul comes out, and the same exact thing that happened to Orton happens to Paul Heyman. When he goes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Before he could even finish his own name, he stepped back and was just like, wow. Like he was all happy, go lucky about it. But Randy or Owens is like, dude, you just can't RKO him right away. Randy goes, I'm not a right away. I'm normally an out of nowhere kind of guy, which I absolutely found hilarious. But we also were hearing "We Want Aldis" chants, and Paul basically like made it clear, like, hey, I'm letting you know these rules are different. I may be in charge, but I do not have any control of what happens. And it kind of put into the fact of Randy going, so then who is the real tribal chief? But then right after that, we saw Solo and Tama Tonga attack Owens and Orton, and we kind of just saw that brawl happen, and it ended up there was, they all went backstage, whatever. Moved us into our next segment, who is a former manager of the Maximum Male Models, Max Dupree. Just kidding. Whose game is it? What everybody's saying? Oh, no. Yeah. He faced Angel from Legado del Fantasma And I found something pretty interesting during Angel's entrance. We saw the next Uncle Howdy QR code, which again I'll get into when we get to that part. But after the match, LA Knight declared for the King of the Ring, and Santos was like, "Oh, not just you. I'm also declaring for King of the Ring." So now we have like 4 or 5 people declare for the men's King of the Ring, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, like I said, with the whole thing with Legado del Fantasma earlier about the Rey Mysterio and Carlito, we see Carlito getting attacked by Dragon Lee, and Rey has to pull off Dragon Lee because how pissed Dragon Lee is.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck, Ray?
I mean, I would have loved to see them
get
fight.
Let him get his licks in.
That's what
Let
I'm
him get his
saying.
licks in.
Let him get the licks. But I mean, with Ray being a former tag champion, we move into the tag team championship match. The Street Profits versus A-Town Down Under. They cut a couple promos earlier in the night. Basically, A-Town Down Under was like, "You don't want the smoke." Street Profits were like, "Yes, we want the smoke." I think we see Street Profits take these titles off A-Town Down Under very soon. If it's not British Strong Style, because I want to see a legitimate tag team help push these titles apart or more.
Yeah.
I definitely like A-Town Down Under as a team, as a tag team now. With these titles, because I'm actually understanding it, they're playing heel characters. I mean, they're playing their team perfectly.
Yeah.
But
But
we
I'm
saw
ready
them win the
to see
match.
like an actual competitive tag division now.
Right. Yeah, we saw them
They
win
have
the
some
match.
phenomenal teams.
Oh, 100%. They also have they got the Phantasma who can win it as well. I mean, they have, again,
There's no shortage of great tag teams right now.
I'm not gonna lie, they got the whole world in their hands.
Oh,
But
that was good.
with that, let's move into the last part of SmackDown. Last about 10 minutes of SmackDown. We saw AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes cut a promo. AJ was basically kind of just dogging on Cody. He goes, "I may be still older than you, but I'm still in my prime." And he goes, "You couldn't handle it if you know what I mean," which he kind of did that Stardust reference. And the last thing he kind of pointed out that was like majorly like there was, "I'll remind you and everyone else that I'm phenomenal." So, I mean, I'm not going to say this, but I think there's a potentiality we could maybe, little to none, but maybe see AJ take this title off of Cody. I don't see it happening. I want Cody to win at Backlash.
Let's go, Cody.
But
yeah,
Cody also was like, "Now that's too sweet." After he had said something and tried to do AJ, or no, Cody tried to raise too sweet. AJ wouldn't do it. So AJ was like, "All right, I'll do it." And then he tricked Cody and smacked him. But I mean, I think this match is going to be phenomenal. I think these two will have good chemistry maybe in the ring.
I'm super excited for this match. This is going to be an absolute banger.
I mean, you're coming down to watch Backlash, so I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, bro.
But after, like, right before SmackDown ended, we saw a similar, I want to say like exact damn near like mirror. Oh, Cody Rhodes and Rock, but we saw a similar backstage segment with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens fighting the Bloodline. And right before the camera cut, we saw Randy Orton hit Solo Sikoa with a steel chair. I like the ending of SmackDown a lot. I loved it. But I think I don't really know what else I have for that. Do you have anything for that?
So with this ending to SmackDown with Randy and KO fighting Solo and Tama randomly like backstage like this, do you think that maybe tomorrow or in Backlash, we could see like Nick Aldis, maybe Adam Pearce, somebody come out and declare it as a street fight before the match even gets started?
I mean,
because of this backstage segment and stuff, like they'll announce it on social medias, or they'll announce it like as they're making or after they make the entrances and are all standing across from each other in the ring.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just because
I think that like doing a street fight no DQ rule thing would be an awesome way to debut Jacob Fatu, where like he could literally roll into the ring, or just like he doesn't even have to be like a sneaky debut. He could literally just like explode into the ring, demolish Randy and Kevin Owens, put them both through tables, and end it like that.
I like that.
Like I think this could be a really cool way to debut Jacob Fatu if they do end up making this a stipulation tag match.
I would like to see that. If it happened, I would be awesome, because it would just basically add into it would play into more like the Bloodline rules thing that we've been seeing constantly with these people, not with these people, but like
Right.
WWE. But with that, I mean, I think that's all I had for SmackDown. I mean,
I'm with you there in terms of SmackDown. I don't got nothing else to add.
but like I said, with the SmackDown on and the LA Knight versus Angel match, we had Uncle Howdy QR code. So we're gonna move into our Uncle Howdy segment now. I'm gonna start with the members. So here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Braun Strowman's gonna be a member now because that's how they did. This is how they debuted him. So I think we still see Uncle Howdy, Alexa Bliss, Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, and I'm between Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Matt Hardy. Between those three being one of the finals, being in the new White 5, White 6, whatever we want to see. Joe Gacy does post where I am I on X, like I said last episode, I believe. But with Raw's URL ending, it was Eleftheria. And what that means is in Greek, it is liberty or freedom. Okay, now let's hold on to that thought. Liberty or freedom, okay? But they had it on the video. We saw the doors open, and what everybody's thinking is the Wyatt compound. The door does get opened, and the video cuts to, do you want to meet him and drown in his glory? And then we saw, I think it was the doors open or something was flashed across the screen, and it was just a bunch of words or whatever, right? So let's move in to SmackDown, or not SmackDown, NXT. Like I had mentioned, NXT, we saw a QR code. It's Kintsugi, Kintsugi. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it is the art of fixing Japanese pottery. Well, here's the thing. In the video, we saw they were broken. I didn't fix them. I accepted them. And then they opened the door, was seen all around the screen. But if you paid very close attention to the bottom, there was "We Can Be Family," which I thought was really interesting. Again, we see the White 6, or the new White 5, whatever it may be. But with that, there was also how we usually see the words where we copy, or we don't copy, but we can hold it down and then we see the highlight and we try to figure out what the word is. We saw Lagrange point, and that's actually named after a French mathematician named Joseph Louis Lagrange. I did find out though that Lagrange is a location in France, but it's also a location in Florida. Now, who's from Florida? Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. They're from Brooksville. And with that, like I said, let's go back to Eleftheria, liberty or freedom. We saw Statue of Liberty in the video, and it's like, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. That is on the Statue of Liberty, on the plaque. Here's the thing. Where did we get the Statue of Liberty from?
We got it from the French.
That's what I'm saying. So I think we can see it in France. I think we see something there. But moving into SmackDown now, the URL ending was 404. Now, usually we know that as a 404 error code, but this was actually a promo video for Backlash. And what I found really interesting about it was that the promo video for Backlash was kind of glitched out, like it was, or like Extreme Rules was for, I think it was Extreme Rules for White Rabbit. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But we saw on there, it was, he opened his arms. Our pain became his. We were reborn because we believed. Now, the title of the video, Ryan, was All You Have to Do. Okay? Now, who used to say that? All you have to do, and then it's like two other words.
Believe.
We saw that. And so going back to because we believed, it was actually changed to we believed with a split second if you were able to catch it. But going back to our pain became his. Actually, hold on. The we believed, I think this confirms we see Uncle Howdy or Bo as Uncle Howdy, but going to our pain became his. There was an idea thrown out that this could have something to do with Bray's death and all the characters are now lost. Instead, now Uncle Howdy is trying to lead them. And Uncle Howdy has actually understood their pain, and now he's taking them in as his.
Right.
But with that, I think the promo, like I said, the promo video, I think we see him at Backlash. I think I'm gonna stick to Backlash. We see him in France, in Lyon, France. They're gonna do it the same way they did Bray with that Extreme Rules. But I do want to point out one more thing before I make final predictions. Wyatt Rabbit was never seen on NXT, okay? And NXT
Mhm.
had Nightbird. Now, these are my final predictions for the Wyatt Six. I have Uncle Howdy because of We Believed and all you have to do for the title. Alexa Bliss because she set the return soon off of maternity leave, and the Veiled Nun having I'm Nobody in the forehead. Dexter Loomis, as far as it sounds dumb, but as far as that, I just see him being a Florida man, but he's also, like I said, so is Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. And then
Mhm. I mean, it makes sense.
Nikki Cross, I see in there as well because she's in her trance. I mean, I those trances that we've seen and all just before Royal Rumble and at the Royal Rumble was pretty interesting. But it's also because
Right.
of Chris Najama. Chris Najama is in Slovenian again is Cross Cave. And I think this is one of the members. But the final two that I have are Eric Rowan, who signed with WWE on Wednesday, May 1st, and the skulls in Chris Najama, the Slovenian cave. There's skulls on display, and they're very similar to Eric Rowan and Luke Harper's Bludgeon Brothers. Um,
Their skulls.
like their masks that they wore or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my final prediction is if they do not preserve this spot or reserve this spot for Bray, I think it's Joe Gacy because of the silhouette and the video from NXT. An NXT star is supposed to be called up very, very soon. And the way Joe Gacy's character is he basically plays a psychotic ass dude. Like he's a psycho. He's basically like a modern day Mick Foley, but more psycho. But it's obviously like it's weird how they have him playing it. But this is where I'm making my final predictions. He's appearing at Backlash because all the NXT teasers point to Leon France. I'm holding that. I think we see him. I think Uncle Howdy comes back the way they did Bray. And what they do is they have all of the Wyatt Six family members in the crowd, very similar to how they did the Firefly Funhouse. And we just see Uncle Howdy come out and just stand there. Like they do everything just like Bray. I mean, I would love to see it. I don't really know how much else. I mean,
Bro.
what do you got?
It would be insane to have like the show close with like Cody Rhodes standing in the middle of the ring,
Right.
holding the title up in the air. Like this doesn't even need to necessarily be like the first feud they do, but like the way you get the most eyes on this debut would be to do it while Cody Rhodes is in the ring. And
Mm-hmm.
so have him like hold up the belt, have like the fake copyright uh, symbol show up in the bottom corner. Then all of a sudden the Nightbird music starts playing. And then like exactly like you said, the members show up in the crowd, just like the Fireflies Funhouse characters did when Bray debuted. And then Uncle Howdy slowly walks out onto the entrance ramp. And then that's how Backlash closes out. Dude, that'd be insane.
Agreed. I do want to say though that this is kind of it's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a tribute to Bray, but it's also what it really needs to be. It needs to be its own thing, and it's not just a full thing that's attributed to Bray.
Yeah,
but
it needs to stand on its own 2 feet. Like it needs to pay homage to Bray, I feel like. But like, that doesn't need to be its entire purpose.
No, I think also if they don't do a Wyatt 6, we see a Wyatt 5, and Dexter Loomis is not a part of this Wyatt family. And my first predictions for that is that the Wyatt family goes after Braun Strowman. And because, like I said earlier in this episode, as soon as I opened it, remember who you are. Well, before Bray had disappeared off camera, before his unexpected death, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman were their normal selves. They weren't under Wyatt's control. So I think we see Alexa Bliss come back. I think we see Lilith, the doll, come back as well. I think we also see Braun Strowman come back as the Black Sheep after he gets attacked, and is basically what it is that he is brainwashed to going back. So I think that would be pretty interesting. But again,
I think it would be absolutely insane to see that. I would love to see them go right after Bronson Reed and go straight into that feud and give not Bronson Reed. Fuck, there's too many Brauns.
There's too many Brauns on Raw, man.
Braun Strowman. Why are they all on Raw?
I definitely agree. I think
Jeez.
I think we'll see something very soon between this. But with that being said, again, I'm gonna solidify this. My final predictions. I've said them. I think we see this happen at Backlash in France and Lyon. Ryan,
In Leon.
you got anything else for it?
No, I did not. Nothing else out onto this. Pretty much got it all.
Close it out.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to another episode of the AR Wrestling Podcast. Stay tuned for our predictions and our reactions to Backlash in Lyon, France. Thank you, everybody.